All right, good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting. Tonight is Thursday, February 12th. It's the monthly business meeting of the MSAD75 Board of Directors. We'd like to begin, actually, before I get going here, we just want to remind everybody, I think we have everybody who's here, but we have a sign up that if you want to make public comment, please sign up. And after roll call, we will pick that up. And at that point, you will not be able to add your name to the public comment portion. And with that, Heidi, can you please take attendance?
William Beatty,
Present.
Andy Began,
Present.
Jessica Damon,
Present.
Tony Goncalves, Gregory Greenleaf,
Present.
Hudson Hayward,
Present.
Ryan Larson,
Here.
Jim Moulton,
Here.
Kim Pacelli, Amy Spelke, here, Frank Wright,
Present.
and Haley Coulis.
Here.
Ashby Hayward, and Will is absent.
All right, please stand and join
I'm
me.
here, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary Hobson, sorry. Oh, gosh.
Pledge allegiance to the flag. All right, next up, we have some adjustments to the agenda, and I'm going to run through them here and just call them out quickly for everyone. We have added a handful of items, 13.5, 13.6, 13.7, 13.8, 9, 10, 11. And then we added, but have since removed 13.12?
No,
Or
it's 1312.
13.12 is an
And then
addition.
remember-
Okay, thank you. Then we removed the mechanics apprentice from the
That's-
agenda.
5-4 is removed.
5.4, if that was 5.4, that's removed. Yes, it was, that will be coming forward in a future budget request, but that has been approved, I believe, maybe 2 years ago or something like that. So that action was not needed. And with that, I would entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Right, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. Thank you. And now we have public comment. So I would invite anybody who would like to make any public comment to please. Well, yeah, can you grab the list, Andy? Thank you. Thanks, Andy. All right, and so if you can just state your name and your town.
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead.
I'm Shannon Fitzpatrick. I'm a school nurse at Woodside and I'm from Topsom.
I'm Katie Wise. I'm the school nurse at Williams Cone in Harpswell, and I live in Bowdoin.
So we have a couple other school nurses that weren't able to make it tonight, but we're just here to introduce ourselves and give a brief description of what we all do on a daily basis. And we come to you with a combined 100 years of nursing experience. You may think that we just give out Band-Aids and ice packs, but we do much more than that. We assess severity of an illness or injury. We care for students with chronic conditions from seizures to diabetes, feeding tubes, hemophilia, and asthma. We ensure all students are up to date on vaccines and immunizations per state requirements. We screen for vision, hearing, and other potential health issues. We connect families to relevant health resources. We provide mental health to students in need. We collect health data and promote overall school community health. Data gathered by the National Association of School Nurses shows that schools with full-time nurses see lower rates of absenteeism, higher graduation rates, and fewer illness-related early dismissals. Every dollar spent on school nurses saves $2.20 in medical costs and lost productivity for parents and teachers. School nurses allow teachers and administrators to focus on education, saving up to 2 hours daily per school staff. 79% of parents say the presence of a school nurse would influence their decision when choosing a school for their child. Medically complex children requiring the skills of a professional registered nurse in nursing assessment, diagnosis, and intervention during the school day have increased. The Maine State Board of Nursing reports that Maine has experienced an increase in the number and complexities of students with health conditions coming to school due to the advances in medicine, health, and science. The COVID-19 pandemic added significantly to existing responsibilities as schools' nurses stepped in to administer COVID-19 tests, conduct contact tracing, educate staff, students, and families on COVID-19 precautions, such as proper mask wearing, hand washing, and hygiene, physical distancing, update school health-based protocols and safety plans, and support decision-making for school closing/reopening plans. The pandemic has since increased the need for school nurses who address and support efforts related to chronic absenteeism and the impact of health conditions on academic outcomes. This added to school nurses' direct care responsibility as students return to school demonstrating worsened physical and mental health. I recently went to a nurse convention with another nurse, Kelsey, and we heard a speech from Dr. Nirav Shah. Dr. Shah said to the group, "We depended on school nurses during times of turmoil. It's time to rely on school nurses in times of peace." In closing, we just wanted to show that we are more important than the occasional Band-Aid or ice pack. We want to partner with you and be more involved. We want to take part in more district-wide wellness activities such as flu clinics and such. We want to be involved in safety committees and let our voices be heard. We take pride in what we do. We treat our staff and students like family. We know our students so well. We are aware that the thought of having unlicensed health aides in some of the schools has been thrown around as a way to save some money. We feel that what we do in our school is valuable for staff and students, and it raises some serious ethical and safety concerns to be replaced with someone with no medical background as the medical needs of children are growing in our area. Just as we would never consider placing someone without the appropriate experience into a teaching position, it does not seem appropriate to place someone without relevant experience into a registered nurse role. We thank you for your time and support. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming and sharing that. And thank you for everything you guys do daily to support the kids in the district. We appreciate that. All right, moving on. Next up is agenda item 5. So it's our consent agenda. Accept a motion to.
Move to accept the consent agenda?
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions, comments from anyone? No comments. Not comments. I guess we can pull it out. Any requests to pull them out? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? And thank you. That was unanimous. And thanks for the patience in working as we added some things to this too. I know it's been a busy week, so. Next up, we have recognitions and acknowledgements, which we do not have any specific call outs there this evening. So board announcements and correspondence would be nothing this evening. So we're going to move right to reports and presentations. And the first up, we have Ashby Hayward for a report from the student as a student representative to the board.
Okay. So I don't have anything like crazy interesting. It's been a few weeks, a long few weeks. But what I do have, so the prom committee has been meeting pretty regularly to make sure that we're on top of prom, which has been way more stressful than we thought it would be initially. But the date has been set, it's May 9th, and the theme will be Enchanted Forest, and it will be at the Brunswick Golf Course. So having the big 3, important things laid out has been really helpful. I heard STEM night was successful. I wasn't able to go because we've been rehearsing for Frog and Toad, which will be on March 6th, 7th, and 8th. With a sensory-friendly show and a sign language interpreter as well. I hope I get this right. Girls basketball is off to semifinals or regionals. Track is off to states, but winter sports are winding down altogether. The conversation about graduation has kind of been sparked about who's going to be walking with who. The senators have been having lots of conversations about, who's going to be giving what speeches and how do we balance the time and not drag it out like it has been before, and just kind of make that a really positive experience for everyone. Oh, homework committee has been meeting. I think they met twice last week to talk about conversations about how summer homework could work this year that they're going to bring to administration soon. All Eastern's honor choir is coming up in 2 weeks, of which I think we're sending 8 students. That'll be in Providence, Rhode Island. And I believe that's everything that I have. Yes, okay.
Thank you very much for the update. I know you had to fit us in the schedule tonight, so thanks for making it here and getting us the update. And best of luck to the track team and you and girls basketball and any of the other sports as they wind down with their end of season events. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Ashby. Next, we have Dr. Hoffman here to talk a little bit about STEM night.
Yeah, I will have just a few things to show. Not a significant data presentation, but just a few visuals to go along with. So if you want to swing around to be able to see that. All right. So just wanted to share some what we think was success from our second STEM night. Safe to say, I think at this point, we hope to continue to make this an annual event. And this year was, I think, continued success. And it's funny to think about this time last year, we presented a little bit about the first event that we did last year. And it's funny to stand here now thinking that we have what we hope is like an annual ever-growing event. As compared to before we did it last year, I think we had no idea what to expect. And so again, this year, our event was 2 weeks ago on Thursday, the 29th of January. And I think in the end, we estimate somewhere between 450 and 500 people attended. And in that regard, it felt like a very successful community event that engaged students of all ages, certainly our high school students, but also middle school and elementary school students as well. And I'll try to highlight some of the things that we did differently this year, but it was also a continuation of what we thought was a success the first time we did it last year. And I think our goals that we achieved were really in line with one of the school goals I highlighted my budget presentation and with our strategic plans, wow, goal to positively engage our families and community in our schools. This is something we hope to continue to do. So the event, for those of you that were not here, I know several of you were able to attend, but for those that were not or haven't been over the past couple of years, really combined a few different elements, all of which are intended to engage young and old minds in all aspects of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, creative engagement, and its structure was really twofold, I think, well, really maybe threefold, I suppose, in that it was intended to combine sort of a career fair, perhaps for older learners to learn about career opportunities with companies and organizations in our area that might involve science, technology, et cetera, as well as hands-on activities in those areas provided both by area organizations as well as staff members across the district. And in that way, we had more, in addition to the 450 or 500 people, we had more exhibitors here this year than we did last year as well, and I'll highlight some of those things. But again, these are some of the businesses that came to share what they do and the opportunities available to them. BIW, the Maine Maritime Museum, Tyler Technologies, Crooker Construction, Marine Food Council, Wright Pierce, CMP, Lockheed Martin, Maine Health, the Southern Maine Astronomers, Maine Mathematics Alliance, and of course the Woodside One Wheelers, among others. And so I was so busy enjoying myself that we didn't get a ton of pictures of the event, but I have a few to show. And just a couple highlights. Here's a couple kiddos playing with Spheros bots, navigating those using the iPads. One of those may or may not be a child of my own. If you're going to put on an event, might as well use it for daycare too. So this was definitely a new highlight. We did not have this last year, but the Schiller Coastal Studies Center at Bowdoin College came and brought this touch tank with various live sea creatures. This was upstairs in a science classroom. Pretty remarkable that they were able to come bring seawater and sea creatures and set it up and break it down all for a 3-hour event. But super popular and super cool to see these things brought to life. And as you can see with the computer here as well, we're also demonstrating a bunch of different aspects of data collection for seawater and ocean health. For those of you that haven't been to the Coastal Study Center down on Oars Island, a worthwhile place to visit just to take a walk. They've got some great walking paths and trails. Gregory's telling me not to advertise this great secret down on Oars Island. But also, I don't know. Aaron, you want to talk about this one? There you are. So.
Cars that have color sensors on the bottom, so the colored maps will make the cars go in different directions. So this was really popular with the younger students. They just had a blast driving the little cars around.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for. I had no idea she was going to be a part of this presentation today. So, both the picture or the speech. So, this is just a couple little Lego bots that some of our students had previously built that were on display in the hallway, dancing throughout the night, having a good time. Several different virtual reality sessions or activities set up across the building. A chance to put on some goggles and transport yourself back in time or elsewhere around the world. Some of our social studies teachers put on one of those exhibits. These were guests from the University of Maine with just some electrical modeling systems that they use as a part of their training curriculum up there. That was a new exhibitor and a great partner to us. This is what it looked like in our dining commons with various exhibitors from different places sharing what their organizations do and the career opportunities available in those organizations. We had another representative. This was a highlight for this year for us, was that last year the different activities we offered around the building were primarily like Mount Ararat High School alone, and we were really excited to expand and offer the opportunity for teachers from across the district to offer things. And so, like Aaron's, this was, you'll see Mike Langley here from Woodside, demonstrating the process of sugaring from maple syrup and all that's involved in that, which was really cool and popular. BIW came in lots of ways. They had their training trailer outside the school. They also had this activity exhibit where students used, if I try to zoom in, you'll see tinfoil, aluminum foil to create, boats or floating things that are then propelled through these tanks. My father, the naval architect, was very happy to see that as an option for young people to design their own craft. Again, another view of the dining commons. Very happy to have folks like the Topsom Public Library here to showcase get your hands on a Star Wars book over there. There's Mr. Dudek, who was happy to be here for STEM night and happy to be led around to different things by one of his Woodside students. And of course, among other things, the one-wheelers gave a presentation in this space on the physics of unicycling. And of course, the event was followed by a varsity basketball game, and the one-wheelers performed at halftime for that. And I think it's a pretty special thing when the opposing fans from Hamden Academy, who we beat in last year's state championship basketball game, give our one-wheelers a standing ovation for their halftime performance. So that was super cool. So again, a successful night. I hope you all got your little square pin. Those are what we gave out to participants on STEM night. And we hope we can do it again. And I should just thank, obviously educators from across the district came here to participate and to offer something STEM related for activities. But the organization of the event really fell on my shoulders, along with Corey Calderwood, who's our technology teacher here at the high school, and Doug Ware, our community pathways teacher. The three of us, the two of them did a ton to organize for the event. And we're very busy that night, so we thank them very much for their efforts. Any, I don't know, questions? Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Chris. That's awesome. Thanks for all the work and to everybody who pulled it off, and to all the companies and organizations that were able to come help support that and educate the kids. Pretty cool event. All right, Heidi, I think you were up next with the superintendent's report.
To let folks know that pre-K registration opened earlier today, and we opened it quite a bit earlier for the registration in hopes that we could get registrations early so that if we need to plan for another class, we would be able to do so during the budgeting process. So if anyone is out there listening, I've posted it on Facebook. I've sent it out to all the town managers and their clerks. And it's on our website. So if you could let folks know to get registered as soon as possible, that's really important. And I just wanted to say for the high school that I did attend the STEM night, and what an amazing opportunity, and to see it grow and have the businesses that were there was just absolutely wonderful. Lots of good conversation, lots of people that I knew from different locations. And then I'm just wanting to wish everyone a very happy Valentine's Day on Saturday, and then a wonderful winter break. And have a good time. Get some rest. About the financials.
All right, good evening. So big picture here, this was the 7th month out of our 12-month budget cycle, meaning that if we were to follow the budget split up equally into 12 months, we'd be at 58% expended. We are trending below that by 11%. So we're at just shy of 47% expended, which is good news for us. That means that if all goes well, we should have a budget surplus at the end of the year, putting that into the fund balance. So we definitely have some bigger obligations that we're going to be paying for in the month of February. Our bond payments are generally in February and March, and we paid some capital leases so far in February. So expect this number to trend down a little bit for this next coming month's report. But overall, high level, we're looking to be in a very strong position, particularly in our category of personnel costs, which is at 46.3% expended. Like I said, if we were to follow along at a 7-month pace, we'd be at 58%, but we are trending below that. So One category that did tick up a little bit this month was the salaries for substitutes. And I wonder if you'd go back to January's and previous years, if you'd see an uptick in salaries for substitutes as well. I imagine that there were a lot of both sick students and teachers out, so that would contribute to the higher number. But right now, like I said, we're looking really favorable. So yeah, that's any specific questions?
No questions. Thanks for the work. Thanks to you and your team and everybody in the district that's helping manage this. It's much appreciated. It's good work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Next up is the board chairs report. I just have a couple of quick things. First, I would like to remind everyone of the coming board workshop, February 26th. So it's 2 weeks from tonight. We'll be here at 6 p.m. For a workshop that will be focused on the update on the facilities master plan.
Yeah.
I have the wrong date in my head. Thank you, Frank. Thank you. It is Tuesday, not Thursday. Tuesday, the 24th, at 6 p.m. I think. At 6 p.m. Yeah, we'll see you then, Bart. So just again, anybody that's listening or maybe watching, please spread the word on that. We know that we have had a challenge getting word out, and we want to make sure that everyone who wants to know knows and is able to attend, just to hear an update on how the discussion is progressing.
Ryan, you know this, I regretfully am out of town traveling for work that week, so I'm very, very sad to miss it. But we're going to record it as if it were a board meeting so that folks can watch it live if they can't be here, or they could catch up with it later. Is that, like, will the recording be available after the fact?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. We will post that, where I think some of the other recordings have been posted for part of this process. So,
Great, thank you.
yeah, I'm sorry we missed it, and with the date shifting, and
I'll catch up.
I
after.
appreciate your
With
understanding.
everybody afterwards.
And then, yeah, Jim.
Just this comment in the calendar piece has made me think. Jessica and I have spent time over the last little while preparing for Bowdoin's town meeting, which will be on March 7th, and preparing a report, text to be entered into the warrant book, an annual event, and those books go out all across. But things like calendar and the budget information and the strategic plan, all those critical components, so much, and Heidi, in your comments just now, that the pre-K registration opens today. It's live on the front of the website. So just to encourage everybody who's watching, please become familiar. But also, I don't know if other towns, so this is not specific to this, but in town meeting, et cetera, our intention is to put the district's website on a Promethean board and literally walk people through where things are. There are a significant number of residents in the town of Bowdoin who are not digital natives and may rely on print and material, and they watch here and they know the calendar, but the calendar gets updated, things are fresh. So I think any opportunities to do sharing and actually taking people into the website and showing them how easy it is to find that information and stay up tuned and become more involved in the critical work across the schools. So just the mentions of resources, be it calendar, budget, pre-K registration, they're all there. Made me want to comment, Jessica and I, in our conversation, it will be a critical component of our report to the town.
Well said. Thank you. And thank you guys for doing that with the town meeting. That sounds like a great use of that time there to help share that information. The other piece that I had on my little punch list was just to kind of quickly open it up and see if there's any recommendations, suggestions, or anything that anybody has for future either workshops or board agenda items or anything. Our intent had been, I think we got this added to the agenda at one point, and it's kind of fallen off, and I haven't done a very good job at asking. And it kind of dawned on me today that it would be a good thing to ask, to just see if anybody has anything they'd like to share or ask about. So yeah, Amy.
Thanks for offering. Most of you I think maybe all of you might remember a little bit ago, we took some steps to think about the rotation of the chair, and I believe it's BBDA. That process was hindered by some procedural irregularities maybe, and we tabled it, I think, at the time. But it seems to me that it might be a good topic for a workshop, because I still think there's a lot of merit in the idea that a model where the chair is chosen because they're the person who is in the best position to lead the board and not necessarily change every year is something worth considering.
Thank you. And I'm not going to read into the previous board chair making that suggestion about the current board chair, but we'll leave that alone. No, thank you, though, in all sincerity. Thanks for bringing that up as a potential consideration. Yeah, Jessica.
I just want to say thanks for bringing it up again too, because I'm thinking of things, but they're not well formed yet. So henceforth, there shall be some constructive something from me.
Perfect. Yeah, please, everybody feel free at any point in time, if something that you want to learn more about, hear more about, would like to just have us address, please share that. Or if you don't even know exactly what it is or what it needs to be, but something that we need to talk through to help figure it out, please reach out. Yeah, Hudson.
I was just going to say, if someone thought of something outside of the meeting, could they contact you directly? But you already answered that, so.
Most
you're good.
certainly. All right, with that, I'm going to wait anxiously to hear from you all after this. So thank you for that. Next, we will go to committee reports. And first up, we have CIA.
Thanks. We met earlier tonight, and our agenda is in the book, 11.1. We first heard just a brief story around the Big Brothers, Big Sisters work going on at the high school, a program that had been going on for a number of years, brought back. This is the second year it's been back with 8 students from Mount Ararat currently participating, connecting in the elementary schools in Topsom with the littles are there. The bigs come from the high school, the littles, and wonderful program. So we are pleased to hear that. The course request, which will be in items down in 13, asked to have another contemporary crafts art class. There will be no impact on budget, an existing instructor, but the idea being to across a multiplicity of medium, be it wood, metal, fibers, whatever, more conceptual opportunities for people to engage with art. There is another request for a text for Spanish 4. The text is translated from the Spanish into English, Life and Death in MS-13. It is a novel, a young adult novel that speaks to being in the hold of a violent gang. And the goal of the book is to teach Spanish, to help students achieve learning in Spanish, but it's based in a topic that certainly people are hearing about today. And the committee appreciated that and will suggest it moves forward. Another asked to approve an AP calculus, to move AP pre-calculus. There is pre-calculus has been taught as a locally designed class. There is a request to move it to follow the AP pre-calculus, which allows the opportunity to take the AP test following that course and perhaps have benefit of college course credit come due upon matriculation. So those are the other approvals. There was another piece which is not listed on the document in the book, which was to have us consider extending the use. Last month, we talked about using IXL, which is a mathematics and language arts, ELA, skills-based improvement tool at Bodenham. The idea is to have that same approval, which moved forward last month, extend to Harpswell. So those are the topics we discussed today. Frank? And French, which is also not here. Thank you. There is to move French into, current staff will be getting certified to teach. This would be next year to have an AP French class. Last year, the move was made to have AP Spanish taught, and that has been successful. So fundamentally, it is a move to follow that course with the Spanish to move it into French. There was discussion, an ask of whether, does that mean German, which is also taught? Will next year, will it be an ask for an extension into the AP German class, which also sparked a conversation around AP in general. What was mentioned, which I guess I had forgotten, because we certainly paid our bills on AP tests, but that there is a cost in taking the test. And with the extended number, there are benefits, and we heard from a committee member of some significant benefits, potential benefits for kids matriculating into school and gaining college credit. But that was a reality. But with that, on a positive side, the AP test delivers the opportunity for a certification of sorts, which which nobody can ever take away. This is the AP certification. So that AP French would be taught by current staff, which will receive the certification. So the only cost would be the preparation course, which really falls into professional development for the teacher who would take that course on. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, Hudson and then Jessica.
I've got two questions, one very quick, the other one maybe is more for Amanda. So you described it as pre-calculus now, but in the later on it shows up as calculus. So it's a pre-calculus class?
The agenda shows pre-calculus. The document that we actually worked from, the course request, is AP pre-calculus. So it is an edit on the agenda.
Easy edit, just wanted to double check. And the other one, well, I guess maybe it's a comment, not a question. It's classic, but a jerk move. I'm so glad to see AP language come back. When I was a student here with some other members, AP French, AP German were part of the curriculum. I took AP French, so I'm excited to see it return after 25 years. Excuse me, sorry.
All right, Jessica.
I went to a high school that did not have AP, and also a long time ago. You mentioned something that I hadn't considered for a while, but there's a cost with the exam. So this is hopefully not too divergent for the agenda, Ryan, but $99 per exam. Does that sound accurate to folks here? I just Googled it real quick. 130 now. Okay, AI was wrong. That never happens. So maybe it's a question for you. I assume we have some financial help for students that can't foot that bill?
Yeah, and we actually got an update from Dr. Hoffman on that, and there's a portion of the costs that students pay of that 130 goes to a fund to help offset the cost for students and families that need some help with that. So it's not, the district itself doesn't do anything at this point, but the process allows for that. And then Dr. Hoffman and another staff member or two, I believe, kind of help support that as needed for students.
Okay, good. And just a quick follow on. There's probably a process in place that would identify students that would benefit from an AP course and hopefully kind of give them a nudge if considering that the financial strain would be too much for them. I guess I just want to plug that for any teachers who might be listening. There's plenty of students in our district that probably could qualify for AP, but might not take the test because of a financial concern.
And understanding that the taking of the test is not requisite. The course can be taken without following up with the test. But the topic also came, just to go on, there was also conversation around, there are some, the potential of some learners just feeling who are driven, I've got to take AP this, AP that, they've all got to be APs, which can lead to a burnout or an overweight load on students, which led to conversation and again went back to the strategic plan, speaking to the critical need of engagement with adults who know the child well and can either, as you suggest, or that there are students who should be encouraged to go forward. There are perhaps also some students who said, enough's enough. You don't have to have AP everything. So it was a wonderful conversation around AP, these in specific, but AP in general.
Any other questions? All right, thanks for that update, and we'll be revisiting you these items here shortly. Next up for committee reports is the Finance Committee.
Yes, you're lucky. We didn't have 3 updates because we had a cancellation. But we've had 2 Finance Committee meetings since the last time we met. The first on January 27th, we had the presentations from the schools, and I will reiterate, that is one of my favorite events of the entire year. Finance Committee is not always fun, but that presentation is always really exciting for me and very interesting, hearing the principals come, bring data from their schools, talk about the things they're doing, what they're hoping to achieve. It's always very exciting for me. So I really appreciated that, as always. We heard from athletics and special education, both strong presentations. It's great to hear from Heidi Wright talking to the committee for the first time, talking about the budget looking forward, which was awesome. And she brought forward a lot of stuff, but she was sort of tasked as an outsider to look at our program and identify what we need. And she did just that. So that was great. And then this past Monday, we sort of combined the previously scheduled for Monday agenda with the one from last week, which was canceled due to the school cancellation. We did it all in one night, so it was a little bit of a long night, but actually in a lot of ways was kind of very successful to sort of see the presentations all in the sort of same context and mass. So I think it's definitely worth something considering to keep. It was a long night, but not an insanely long night, about 2.5 hours. We heard from food service, adult education, the instruction, the general district-wide instruction approach, the technology department, transportation, facilities, and then we had some great updates from Evan on the status of our revenue and debt service, which is really good. I think we've got a lot of newer members, honestly, in some ways still including myself, right? So hearing about, what's the status of the Matter at High School bond, what's the status of the roof bond, and that was all good information for us to sort of have. We talked about the financial report you guys saw tonight, and we got a preliminary discussion about the audit for fiscal 2024. So that is almost complete. We saw the full draft. We were able to sort of talk about it briefly. And Evan and Heidi are working with the auditor to get that wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. Is that still? Couple of days, everybody, says Evan, next couple of days. And so I will work with Heidi, Evan, and Ryan on scheduling an additional finance committee to hear the report from the auditor and ask questions, because that'll be an additional meeting, and because finance is so busy, that may result in a Zoom meeting, or assuming that Ryan and Heidi agree that it meets the requirements of the policy. So that may be, just heads up to everybody, that may be the approach for that one. But yeah, so the committee will hear reports from the auditor, and then we'll be able to bring it to the board for acceptance afterwards, which is very exciting, because then we start fiscal 25 and all of a sudden we're caught up. So huzzah. Thank you very much for that, Evan and Heidi, and to our auditors if you're listening. And we also got our preliminary ED 279. For anyone listening who does not know what an ED 279 is, that's the document from the state that says, hey, here's how much money we're going to give you. Here's how much money we expect you to raise at a minimum. And here's what you can start planning on. So the good news is our ED 279 went up by about 5%. Is that right? 4.98. I think I don't win by prices right, but I'm pretty darn close. Which is fabulous. Last year, I think it was like 1.5% or something. So it's really nice to see the state at least starting to stay on target with what actual cost increases are, for at least for our district. I know, other districts will not be necessarily as fortunate. So that was really good. It's a good starting point as Heidi and Evan and their teams start narrowing down on what the superintendent's recommended budget will be. So that was great. We're on a bit of a mini hiatus as a committee until March 4th, when we will meet with the select boards, the town managers, and whichever state elected officials whom we've invited are able to come. And so we'll see what that is. That's a good meeting. The towns often are very curious about what we're doing, because they, are answering to the people and they're in charge of the tax bills that we send out, implementing the tax bills that we send out. So a lot of good questions usually come from that. I really look forward to it. And I encourage any board members who want to come and join that, please do. But that's it for finance.
Any questions for anyone? All right. Thank you for that update, Hudson. We will move on to old business. So first up here, we have consider action to approve a second reading and adoption of proposed revisions to existing policy JC, assignment of students to elementary schools.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions from anyone? Hudson, do you want to add anything, or?
No additions. This is the same, exactly as presented last time. We've made no changes since first read.
All right, so all those in favor? Opposed? And then, thank you, that was unanimous. Next, we'll consider action to approve a second reading and adoption of proposed revisions to existing policy IMB, teaching about controversial and sensitive issues.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions, or Hudson, would you like to add anything?
No comments. Again, no changes from first read.
Policy is buttoning it up when it comes here, so that's great. Seeing no questions, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, that was unanimous. To consider action to approve a second reading and adoption of proposed new policy IMBB, exemption from required instruction.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. And if there are any specific questions, if not, Hudson, any updates, or we're good
No
for the
changes
last?
from first read.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. Thank you. One more here to go under old business, which is to consider action to approve a second reading and adoption of proposed new policy BBAB, school board self-evaluation.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Anything to add? All those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. Excellent. Great work, everyone. Thank you. We have a list here of some new business to work through as well, so we'll get started. Consider action to approve a first reading of proposed revisions to existing policy IHBAC child find.
So moved.
Second.
Hudson, would you like to share any insight here?
Yes, I'll be brief. So this is, this is a policy the policy committee started working on a while ago, and we had some questions about how it would interact with the change from the CDS transition to districts. And we're like, well, maybe we'll figure that out. And then right after that meeting, MSBA released, Drummond Woodsum released a new sample that addressed all that. So we integrated all those changes. We're all buttoned up and in compliance with the current state of law, which is great. And this all obviously also reflects what we're already doing, but it's in good shape there. And then I forgot to add it to the agenda last week for first read. So thank you all very much.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. To consider action to approve the removal of policy EEAA, Topsom Elementary Student Placement Policy.
So moved.
Second.
And just a little insight.
Yeah, so we had both EEAA and the old JC, which had some duplicative content about how Topsom Elementary students were assigned. And we have consolidated that information along with information about general elementary assignment under the previously adopted JC edits. So we no longer need a separate policy, EEAA.
Excellent. Any questions? No? All those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. Next up, we have action to approve the disposition of surplus vehicles as listed in the agenda piece here.
So moved?
Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? For
Believe that's
those of you
yellow.
at home who don't know, Bart is very passionate about yellow buses, and these are yellow buses.
And they're being replaced with yellow buses, am I correct?
So you are correct.
Bluebirds.
Yes.
All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous, thank you. And now we are going to get into a couple of items that were added a little late, but it's first up is to conduct a second read of the school calendar for 2026-2027 school year.
So moved?
Second?
All right, thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Amanda, is there any insight you'd like to share?
Not anything new. There were there was one change that was requested when we came for the first read, and that was that we add Christmas to the cultural and religious holiday list. And besides that, there have been no changes except for help from a very handy board member who is good with the spreadsheet and was able to add some colors that are really helpful when you read this. But the overall committee had no other recommendations. So this would be a second read and approval request.
Based on that, does anybody have any questions?
Are the other schools in the same place? They,
Yes, and both of those schools have had full approval by their board.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that was unanimous. Thank you very much. Thanks, Amanda, for all the work on that. All right, so we have another piece here. So this has been added to discuss and seek approval from the board to allow remote school days for any snow days, events that require a day off that may come for the remainder of the school year 2025-2026.
So moved?
Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded. I don't know if Heidi, if you want to say anything, just to provide a little context here.
Sure. At this time, we've had 3 snow days and 1 day as a release for the bomb threat that came in last week. And so I've been communicating with our association, our Teachers Association. And then I don't know if you know, but Erin Scott is also works in the Learning Commons at Woodside, but she's also one of the support staff MEA reps. Did I get that correct? Who's been a very big help. So we've had some discussions and they wanted to talk about, in case we were to have, like if yesterday would have been a snow day, we wanted to talk about the possibility of using March 8th as, which is a comp day for K through 8, turning that back into, oops,
That'll be separate.
what? Oh, March 13th. Yes. Okay. That's a separate
Well,
conversation.
you can comment on it now, but we'll take votes
Yep.
on that separate.
Yeah, so right now, basically, if we were to have any more snow days, I met with the Principals Council as well. And what we determined that we would like to go with remote school days for any snow days that come forward, because if we continue, we could be going into, we're at June 23rd at this point, or 24th? 24th of getting out of school, which seems, and really, we had a 2-week vacation at Christmas, so that was nice, but that only comes around every 7 or 8 years, and it really made a big difference with the calendar this year. So the association is in full support of this. I talked with the principals, we're in support of this. And so we wanted to just kind of put that out there for board discussion, because I know a few years ago it was talked about, and we did not want remote days, but we weren't in the same position that we are now. Any snow days that we have are made up, and so people don't lose pay on those days. So that was a concern of some, but that's what the conversation needs to be about tonight, is whether or not you would approve remote days moving forward. And we will look at the comprehensive plan next year to determine if that's something that we want to do ahead of time. But for right now, it's for the remainder of this school year.
Can you explain how that would work? I mean, how would a first grader have a remote school day?
So teachers would be, teachers and paras and those that work directly with children would be available during the day for signing on if parents needed to sign on. But we would be sending home what they call blizzard packets, like we did, a lot like we did during COVID. So they would have work that was done ahead of time from their teachers and prepared and sent home to families for those remote days.
So this would not necessarily be something you would send home every night in case tomorrow is a snow day. It would be some separate set of work, some might call busy work, that you're going to make up right now that you could do any day, really any time, because it's going to be asynchronous learning.
Yeah. That's in. Did you want to add something, Chris? I see you looking to say. Yeah, absolutely.
I think this would likely look quite different depending on the level that students are at. I can speak in greatest detail across the high school, which is that I think for us, we know our students, generally speaking, have access to their devices at home, and the planning that could result for us might be a little bit more dependent on, the lesson that would have taken place today. I think, especially with our calendar, the way that it works in collaboration with Region 10, when we have a snow day, that day sort of drops out of the schedule. And yes, we regain the day at the end of the year, but in terms of the continuity of instruction, that day is lost. And so certainly nothing can take the place of what would have happened in the classroom, but to some degree, our teachers would have plans created in advance, but those would be modified based on the day and seeing that was a possibility. I think we know that at the younger grades, students are not necessarily, and I also think our plan would likely include accessibility of teachers to meet with students virtually online. And so I think that would be quite different with the younger grades.
Right. I mean, I guess that would be my other question. If it's a paid day for teachers, what are they doing?
Yeah, they're standing by ready to support students as they need to. So it's a conversation. And we talked about other options as well. For example, we have April vacation coming up, and there's a day, it's a workshop day, and we talked about turning that's the 17th, I believe. We talked about turning that into a school day, but we have many families and many people that have already planned vacations. And so to turn that back into a school day, I feel like the notifications that I've got from parents and different folks about that day might cause more problems. So that, that was thrown around. We also talked about taking Wednesdays and adding an extra hour, or getting rid of the late start days, so that we could turn those into full days to make up for, we could do about 6 hours, which would be 6 Wednesdays really is what we're talking about, getting ready, but we use that very well for our professional development time. So that is a problem for that as well. So we threw around all kinds of things, and we really needed to bring this tonight, because if we waited till the end of March, I mean, it's the end of March and we wouldn't, I'm not sure how many snow days, hopefully we don't have any, after March 26th, I probably just jinxed myself. So yeah, anyways, that's the conversation that we've been having. So it's really a conversation and whether or not something the board would support.
Kim, then Mary.
I have a clarification and a question, if two can be indulged. So did you say that June 24th is the current last day? Okay. Wow, that did catch up. That crept up on us real quickly. Okay. So thank you so much for your thoughtfulness about this, because let's be honest, it's only February 12th, and we're having this conversation. And so kudos to all of you for thinking this through. My question, Heidi, is about, and I'm maybe committing some parliamentary offense here, the intersection between what we're talking about now And the next agenda item, which is the idea about making a change to the March 13th date. And so is that, and I don't know if I need to make some sort of parliamentary motion to go there, but like, is it an either or how do those ideas fit together, if that makes sense?
I'm not
Relative
worried
to,
about
like,
part
the
of the
filling
the
up-
way the discussion's going.
know what I
think
mean?
it-
Yeah. Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead,
or
Wayne.
Hudson, if you have more.
I mean, I think we can acknowledge that as a pending topic without digging into it. And I'd also say, I don't think it necessarily means either or. We could say, yes, the idea of a remote learning day is good, but if we make this adjustment, we can also reclaim a day, either in addition to or in advance of that.
Right.
If we were to approve both, which I'm
Right,
not presuming.
right. And just thinking about how I might think about these ideas, wanted to sort of understand how they interact with each other.
I'm with you. Why don't you hold off?
I might hold on.
Yeah, Mary.
I just was wondering about, I mean, when we're talking about remote days, school days, and you said that.
Mary, can you use your microphone?
Sorry.
Thank you.
When we're talking about remote school days and we're thinking about this being a policy change sort of thing that you were saying that next year we would try to get into the realm of the plan, but I just wondered about, and I know that we have obviously remote school days were the name of the game during COVID. So we have some experience with this. Is that the model that would be used? I mean, because during that time we were really heavily using the computers and the technology. Is that, and so there was the Zoom thing and all of that. Is that the model that you would be using?
It's at
during
different
these-
levels, obviously. I think Chris did a nice
Yeah.
job of explaining what, the high school, the teachers could easily be ready, available, the middle school, because the students all have laptops.
Right.
In elementary school, it's a whole different ballgame. And so more or less, we talk about Blizzard packets at elementary level and then, designing what it looks like. We haven't fully talked about what the packets would look like. I think we actually said we would talk about that next time right after vacation on our Tuesday, is what could those packets look like if we were to decide to do something like this. So there's some planning that needs to be done around that, but we don't have it fully set in stone what the elementary packets would look like and the availability. So, but the hope would be that teachers and paras would be available for the needs of students throughout the day.
Right,
And
because I think the face-to-face thing on the Zoom is legitimate. Like, I think to go home with a paper package of busy work, can't say I'm 100% on board on that one. But if there was actually a requirement to do a Zoom call or a Zoom thing, that would be, to me, more appropriate, more to me in line with what school could look like, the same way we have Zoom meetings taking the place of regular in-person meetings. Really, there's not that much different, there's difference, but it's still, you can see the value of a Zoom meeting. But as far as getting a packet of busy work, that can't say I'm 100% behind.
Yeah, well, Gregory, Haley, Frank.
My only comment is, I'm wondering how it would work for kids that don't have great internet access, like at least at the high school and middle school level. Maybe you guys have talked about that, but that's one thing I would worry about. And I'm also wondering, internet goes out during storms too. So in the event that happened, like, would those kids be considered absent? Like, would they be offered a time to make that up, or how exactly would that work is what I would worry about.
I think that's a really good question. I don't really have an answer for that. When we did COVID, we had we didn't have a lot of time, but we had a little time to lift the options. We had hotspots that we delivered to people. We, worked with different families that needed computers. And we're talking about a few days possibly that we would do this, without a lot of planning, because we just don't know when that could come. And so the answer to that is that I just don't really know right at the moment.
Okay, and I would follow that up with being worried about kids that only eat at school potentially too.
Yeah, I can actually answer that because
Okay.
Amanda Johnson already has, we already have a plan. She's right on top of that to send
Perfect.
home boxes of food that need to go ahead of time. So like, for example, if we look at the week ahead and we know that there might potentially be a storm, there's plans for people to sign up to have food sent home. Really, not Greeley, Great New Gloucester, they do that and they have food, lunches, bagged lunches and boxes that go home during storms.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
I taught remote a couple weeks ago. And I was just wondering, it's a couple questions. Just so people know, when does the day begin and end? When does it, because it's not going to 2:20, right? It's going. So I think parents probably would like to know,
Yeah.
like, when does the day start and when does it end?
So yeah, we do know when the days start and end when students are in school, obviously, and we have a chart for that. And I usually send that out depending if it's going to be an early release or a late start. But what we would do before we had a remote day is we'd send out the plan. And what we do is send out the times that students would receive this information. Teachers would have sign up times. All those things can be done. It's just a matter of putting it together. But we really wanted to bring the idea of remote to you, and then we will work on more details.
Well, I was just saying my day ended at 11:30. It counted as a full school day. So I'm just saying it met the states. It's a check. We did a day.
Yeah.
And I was in class for an hour. And I have to say that one concern, I mean, I'm totally for this because if you're an AP teacher, which I am, your exam's in May and you're running out of time. And actually, my daughter's AP history teacher has been meeting with them on snow days because he can't miss a day. So kudos to him. I also think when I was teaching AP and on remote, the kids just wanted to read the book that they had. We just had the screens open, but they were reading. They didn't want me talking to them. It's really boring. So I think it doesn't necessarily have to be busy work. Like a Blizzard packet could be a book. I mean, if kids are reading, they're reading. If they're doing math facts, they're doing math facts. It doesn't have to be something that's like meaningless. I think teachers are inventive enough to create an assignment. And I also don't think talking to kids on screens is necessarily, the solution. I think just checking in, having them do some work, even if it's reading counts. And the only other thing I had was, I just want parents to know that it's probably not going to go the whole day. Kids can get to 11:30 noontime. It's like a 45 minutes.
Yeah, and along with that, I didn't teach AP. They really didn't exist much when I was actively teaching. But I did teach a lot of outdoor living, outdoor education. And this is the perfect time for something like that, where that can be instituted and kids can be part of that. And that's a really, really important aspect of their education. And so it can look very different. And I think it's an opportunity to embrace a more expansive teaching techniques. And I think that would be a good thing.
Hudson.
So I will try to be brief because Haley is mind melded with me with a lot of her concerns about equity, about food. I will add, and I will also say, like, I consider myself lucky that you guys have sent me to be on the calendar committee. I really enjoy the conversations we have talking about this. It's totally like logistics, but it's the logistics I like. So thank you guys for trusting me. I have a lot of issues with the idea of a remote learning day because let's be honest, for kids who need to be in school, it's a wasted day. Your AP kids, they're going to do fine. They're going to do fine whether or not there's a remote day. The kids who need one-to-one instruction, lost, gone. Nothing's going to happen. Parents who need to work, who need to help their students, lost, gone. It's not a school day. So I struggle. And because I understand the problem. Like you start going into the end of June and you start losing kids to vacations and momentum. And Rick Dudek brought up the point at our calendar committee conversation, which I think was really good. Many of our buildings, especially the elementary level, are not air conditioned. So if it starts getting really hot, what do we do? So I am very conflicted about the solution to a problem. It's complicated. But it's hard for me to acknowledge this as an actual learning day for a large number of students in this district. High school students, really motivated self-learners, they're probably going to be fine. Those motivated self-learners are going to be fine whether or not we do a remote day. The kids who need help, the kids in the middle even, like not necessarily kids at the bottom, like there's a lot of kids who need face-to-face instruction. If we need to do this to make the overall calendar work, I get it, but I kind of feel a little disingenuous treating it as an actual learning day, because I think in practice, it's not going to be one. And again, I say that recognizing I don't know how to solve the problem of going to school super late. Like I don't want to act like that's not a problem. It is, but I just don't see how it's a learning day for a huge number of students.
Yeah, Jim.
Ditto. I guess I'd start with, I have another question. What was the genesis of this conversation? Understanding that it's a calendar issue, but did parents speak out, staff speak out? Where did this discussion of, because there's a policy in place that a snow day causes an extension of the calendar. And proximity to the teacher is the most valuable resource in my mind, in a learning environment. So I share, Hudson, your concern, and to refer to it. I heard at the time I was working with schools all across the state that kids just not showing up. That the COVID, even with the technical capacity that Maine had built over 20 years, that school. So to understanding that it may not extend the calendar, but to call it a learning day is a difficult thing for me to do. But I am interested how it started, what brought this forward.
Anytime that we have a snow day, people start to worry is how late are we going to be going into the summer? And it started between a conversation with teachers and myself. And then I brought it to the principals to hear what their thoughts on it were. And then I said, I'm going to need to bring this to the board in order for them to have this discussion. Because in the past, it was voted, I believe, I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was voted down for remote days.
I remember that.
I don't remember the year, though.
So there have not been parents keeping an eye on the calendar saying,
Wanting to know when school gets out because they're planning vacations. And so, well, yeah.
Yeah, do you have insight for his?
A little extra insight from the calendar committee conversation. Amanda, if I'm getting into this wrong, either guys correct me if I screw this up. Rick brought up an idea, which is not part of this conversation, which we could look at later this spring or the beginning of the summer for this coming school year. It's not part of this calendar, but the idea that you set up a threshold. After X number of snow days, we will compensate by converting the April development day into a student day and this and that, sort of setting up sort of a chain of dependency such that parents can know what's the last day of school, and that doesn't move necessarily, right? And so that was brought up as an idea. That's not part of, we're talking about the school year we're in right now, to be very clear, but that's something that the board could look at for the coming school year, now that we've adopted a calendar. How do we, if we want to make plans ahead of time? Am I getting that right, Amanda? So Jim, that's not exactly an answer to your question, but it's something that was discussed about future planning as opposed to being so reactive.
Amy and then Jessica.
Actually, it dovetails with what Hudson was saying. I think I would have more interest in this idea or urgency about it if we had missed 12 days of school, but we're talking about 4. That's a pretty average number of snow days in a year. I think if at the beginning of the year you said there'll be 4 snow days, people would have said, yeah, there probably will be, and counted out. And I mean, I don't think we're at an take urgent measures time right now. And I agree with the learning loss. And also we're paying teachers for that day. And if they're going to be done at 11:30, maybe answering a couple phone calls, that's not a paid work day. So
I want
that's
to
where I am.
also just comment, because when we had the bomb threat, I did reach out to Dan Chuda, who's the deputy commissioner for the state, and inquired about a waiver. And Chapter 125 does not, thinks of a bomb threat, a snow day as the same type of day, right? It's still a missed day from school and it counts against you. And the only way that you can get a waiver if it becomes excessive. The only time that the state ever approved waivers ever approved more days off is during the mass shooting back in 2023. So we're not even close to and I'll say this is what he said, we're not, with only three days at the time, we're not close to the excessiveness of snow days. And we, you all would have to approve it as a board and then send the waiver to the commissioner in order to be waived for any days that would be too excessive. So that, I already had that conversation with him as well.
Yeah, just want to also, as Jim said, ditto to you. I agree with 100% of that. I've been sitting here mulling it around in my head, and I also completely understand the predicament. But it is inequitable from the word go. And that's the big issue.
Like I said, just to your point, Amy, Heidi said that this is a special time, that we had a 2-week Christmas. So those 4 days matter more this time because of that 2-week break in terms of the lengthening of the school year. And if we push it to June, I mean, I have my own daughter who already is going to apply for an internship. And people make plans, camps. So you're going to have learning loss at the end versus having least continuity. And I do take exception to the idea that if they're in AP, they're okay, because like I said, AP history is meeting remotely on school days because the teacher feels that he has to keep up. And if I miss a day, I have to keep, I mean, it's May 5th is my exam. So I do think that for this year, you have to give some concern to the kids who are going to be taking these college courses. They need time to get ready for them. And they will show up to, I don't think it's a done deal that it's a learning loss day. Yes, some kids maybe, but I also think there are kids like my daughter's class, 18 kids showed up to that class. They didn't have to, it was optional. But he held it online and they came. So I think also you could give credit to teachers who can create a remote day that's meaningful. I did it with COVID for a number of months. So you just kind of plan something that is meaningful. So I think it's just a special circumstance this year with the 2-week calendar.
Haley, then Jim.
I just wanted to basically agree with Gregory because of the Christmas being long. Like 4 days certainly isn't out of the ordinary for Maine, but I think that instead of saying, 4 days isn't that many, we should deal with it now in the event that maybe we'll have 4 more, because we're in Maine and it's very possible. So I think that now is the time to talk about it, whether or not it gets done or it makes sense, or if there's learning loss, we should plan ahead and figure it out and not deal with it if the days come, deal with it now instead of waiting.
Jim?
I think of the idea of the paper packet, and I, as a 3rd grade teacher, I sent home in the early 90s spelling lists, busy work as homework. And some kids did it and aced the spelling test and some kids didn't. And the potential for a remote day, if it was, what if the remote day was not a paper packet that attempted to replicate a traditional school day, but what if a remote day was something kids were looking forward to, saying, God, I hope we have a remote day because that's a day I'm being asked. What if it was made? I mean, the potential for a curriculum revolution, Frank, tied
Exactly. That's the whole point.
way, but not just in everybody can go outside and do their own thing. But what if it was a data collection day? What if it was micrometeorology? Everybody gets a thermometer. What if it was 1-to-1? You've got a ruler and a thermometer. We need temperature readings every hour. We need data collection that, the STEM possibilities. To be done right, a remote day does not need to be a traditional. I would like to have the CIA committee hearing ideas for a creative utilization of it really provides a tremendous potential.
All right. How about a couple more, Kim, and then Amy, then I'm going to say something and see where we are.
Okay. This has been a really thoughtful conversation. I largely am, my mind is largely where Hudson's and others are. I think, I love the vision of what you just described, but I think that's going to be really challenging for younger students to achieve without proper adult supervision. And that just gets me to the equity issue that Jessica raised. I wonder, Heidi, whether the team has considered if there's a hybrid solution in here. Like if we have one more snow day or two more snow days, that takes us to Thursday, the 25th and Friday, the 26th. And depending on the timing, and I just want to talk about that next agenda item. Like the March 13th goes, the professional development day falls, again, assuming there's consensus about that. I don't mean to assume that. And then beyond that is when we start looking at remote learning, or so whether there's, trying to assume a one-size-fits-all solution at this moment, if that's part of what's binding us up a little bit.
Actually, I was going to say something similar. Could we talk about pick some number of days after which we would go to, I'm not ready to say the next one is remote, but I understand at some point you have to have, we can't go to school in July. So along the lines Kim was talking about, we might do it if this happens, or we will do it if this happens.
If we move to make the March 13th day a full day where all students and staff are here already, because it's coming up so soon, really, after vacation, then we've dropped one day off. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah.
So the original last day of school was June 16th. We've had 3 snow days and 1 security day. Because that's only 4 closures, which would take us to Tuesday, the 23rd. So I'm just trying to make sure. I am factoring in Juneteenth. If it was going to be the 16th, we get the Wednesday the 17th, Thursday the 18th, Monday the 22nd, Tuesday the 23rd. I'm not trying to say that I think you're wrong. I'm just trying to get clarity, to be very clear. Yeah, which is, I think, a reasonable thing to have in your head, to be very clear. So no critique, just clarity.
Order and give the superintendent a kudos for the decision this week. I would
Yes.
happy to send the children to school on Wednesday.
It can snow and you can still go to school.
It's important to know that it's a team of people. I am part of a large team that makes that decision, final decision, but yes.
While Amanda's pulling that up. Okay, so current last day is the 23rd.
Tuesday, the 23rd.
13.6, if we put that day back in as a full day, that would give us time. That would bring us back to Monday, the 22nd, which Amanda, correct me, it's a half day if it's the last day. Listen to that, right? Okay, so we would be, if we move back to the K through 8 day on the 13th, Monday, the 22nd would technically be the last day right now, and it would be a half day for students. Staff would be their last day. So.
Yeah, Kim.
I was going to ask a procedural question, so I didn't mean to cut in front of your substantive question.
You can ask. Go ahead.
Hypothetically speaking, could a board member move to table this agenda item so we could talk about the next one and then come back if any action were necessary?
I think we could, table this to consider the next question.
Okay.
If we all agree to it, I don't see a reason why we couldn't. We put it like that.
Are you making such a motion, Hudson?
I sounded like you were making such a
Are you
motion.
making such a motion to table the current agenda item, but I wasn't trying to cut off any discussion.
I will second that.
All right, so that is the motion on the floor to table it. Does anybody want to say anything?
And just to clarify, Kim, you're tabling it to follow agenda item 13.6.
Correct.
I concur.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no hands up, all those in favor? Opposed? Excellent, that was unanimous. So let's move to 13.6 to discuss the option of changing the March 13th comp day,
Yeah.
K through 8, into a student day pending the next snow day. So
Yeah, well, it might change just a little bit based
we
on.
need to have it moved
Yeah.
and seconded.
So move.
Second.
Oh, okay. Okay, Frank and then, sorry, Hudson, Frank. Oh, wait, Frank.
Frank Hudson.
Frank Hudson. Oh my God.
So what you were saying it might change.
Yeah, because pending the next snow day, I guess I would wonder whether or not we want to change March 13th comp day into a regular student day, K through 8. It's already, high school will already be here. It's just a regular school day for everybody. And that way it sets us back a day for snow days. Or do we wait for the next snow day or day off if we need to for whatever reason? But we don't have a lot of time. That's the issue. And so that's kind of why I pushed everybody to get this on the agenda now.
Yeah, Amy.
Can you clarify, so this would be, high school's already has a day, so it counts as a day already?
Yes, because this is a comp day for conferences for K through 8. And so high school has a different schedule for that. And so they already,
They have a workshop. The staff has a workshop.
oh, the staff. So it would be a full day for students and it would just not be a work.
Not
But
Monday.
would have an additional day.
Thank you.
All the students, okay.
So you'd maintain the half day on March 12th and we'd go to school, the kids would go to school on Friday the 13th.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Or yes. Well, we talked about that a little bit, but it's conferences. So we don't really want to upset the apple cart for parents.
Who've already
as well,
signed up for
Who've already
conferences.
signed up. So we did talk about that as well. We've talked about all kinds of scenarios. So now I'm probably, what did we talk about? So anyways, the conversation really should be around whether or not we're making March 13th a full student day.
Has the association weighed in on this possibility? I want to make sure that we've got their input.
Yes, I met with the Teachers Association and they did, this was one of their suggestions as well. And Aaron is here and I don't want to speak for Aaron and we didn't bring that up at our meeting the other day.
My only concern would be, teachers that already have planned schedules for
Yeah.
that day, and now they leave, which they may or may not have, depending on what their plans have been.
There's all kinds of logistics.
Yeah.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded, seeing no more questions or okay.
I just wanted to comment kind of on what Jessica said about switching the half days. I can't speak for every other school, but I know for Williams Cone that signups haven't gone out for parent-teacher conferences. I don't know if that's something you could look into, because if you did change the half day to Friday, if there were people with plans, that might help a little bit on the paid leave side of things. I don't know if that, I know you wanted approved tonight, but that's just a thought, so.
Yeah, Bart.
Yeah, just real quick, I just want to have clarity as to what the motion is. Is it scrapping the pending the next snow day? So the motion is actually to discuss the option, or that's to.
My understanding of the motion that I seconded.
No, I'm on the 13.6.
My understanding of the motion I seconded is that it's as written, but we can amend it based on the topic of the conversation. So the motion currently on the floor is in case of future snow dates, but we can opt to change that. And it sounds like Heidi is perhaps suggesting that might be good to regain a day. So we've not yet amended it, but we're discussing that overall. Does that make sense?
It does. Would you like to amend your motion, Frank?
I would say this, that the superintendent has the authority to decide whether she wants to get back a day or use it as another snow day. And that's why I felt that should occur in that manner. And that would be what I was thinking.
Yeah, Hudson.
I was just going to say, and again, this is not just related to this motion, thinking ahead in particular. I would say that it's a better plan if we think about the future to think about eliminating a day that's a workshop day for all staff so that the consideration of teacher plans is not quite so strong. So that's the day before the April vacation. Now, again, that's not the motion on the floor, and there's probably good reason to about that. So this is me just taking this conversation and thinking about the 26-27 school year. That a date like that, especially if it's socialized ahead of time, which is, again, one of the things we discussed at the committee meeting, seems more effective to me as a thing to sort of flag, hey, this date might go away. Be cautious with your travel plans because it might become a school day. So this is tough because it's half workshop, half comp. So there's issues with that are hard to grapple with.
Any more thoughts? So currently we have on the floor the motion as written, which I'm going to read again just so that we're all there. To discuss the option of changing the March 13th comp day, K through 8, into a student day pending the next snow day. Yeah, Jim.
The motion is not to discuss that. The motion is to take action to,
Yes.
it is to change.
To approve.
To approve that, yeah.
Right. So the motion would read to approve, to give as Frank's thinking, to provide the superintendent the option of changing the March 13th comp day K-8 into a student day, period, and strike pending the next snow day, just period.
One thing is though, is that with our support staff contract, if we're going to change a day for our support staff, then we need to give them 2 weeks notice. So if we waited, if we got to work backwards from March 13th. So that's by contract.
And you would have that option to put it in place. If you think it's the long-range weather forecast still looks cold as hell and potentially snowy, but if spring comes early, et cetera. But it would.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but functionally speaking, if there were a weather event that caused you to have to cancel snow in the last week of February, period, full stop, I'm running the numbers in my head, which is a dangerous thing for me to try to do, then you'd have the option to sort of exercise the March 3rd swap. But to Heidi's point, like, it wouldn't do you any good, or it wouldn't gain you any benefit or flexibility if the weather occurred after March 1st, right? Yeah.
Can I make a motion to table this as well, this item 13.6 as well? And the ask would then be to have this more thoroughly vetted and a plan brought back at a future point, and that may, Hudson, please let me know if I'm talking too much about this, but that may be something that we revisit. We have 2 workshops prior to our next board meeting, and we could schedule a 15-minute meeting prior to one of those if needed to help address this once it's been a little bit more clarified and kind of taken some of the comments that have been shared tonight into account.
Excuse me, but what happens if we have a snow day? That's my concern, and I think it's timely now to deal with this, to get it done. Because I'm almost positive we'll have another.
Okay, so does anybody want to second that or no?
Second.
Okay,
Motion to table.
motion to table has been seconded. Does anybody else have any more comments they'd like to share on tabling of this one? Yes, Hudson.
I would say that I agree with Frank that we should probably settle the question of 13.5. But I'm totally fine waiting on 13.6.
The current motion is on.
No, I know, but just, but I
The
guess what I'm
current
saying-
motion is on point 6 specifically, since that's all that we can move on with 13.5 already tabled.
But
Yeah.
was able to follow this one. You know what I mean? So it's like, so we could bring it up.
But I
again,
think we'll
like
have
that
to
was
get
the
to
whole motion.
that though, right? Or not? We'll have to take that when it comes back up. We can't take that now if it's on the table, if it's been tabled and we have something else.
Correct. I guess I was just, yeah, I guess my comment was just,
Sharing.
yeah,
I
exactly.
got you,
Thank you.
totally. So for clarity, we're talking about just tabling 13.6 now.
Can I argue
Anybody want
against your motion?
Yeah,
Sorry,
please.
sorry. Okay. With respect, of course, it would seem wiser to me that if a majority of this board thought that the idea of flipping March 13th has merit, to give the superintendent the authority tonight to make that decision without our further approval. And I don't know if we feel like we need to put conditions on it, but it seems to me the issue of March 13th, we might want to give her some clarity tonight.
Yeah, Jane.
Agreed. I see no downside of providing the superintendent that as an option.
Jessica?
Can I move to what you said? Can I move?
You agree with
to-
my
Well,
motion? You
Yeah, I
have to
think,
vote against
yeah, I
it.
think they'll just have to vote against it when it comes up.
Suppose that's what we have to do then.
Yeah. I guess quickly in response to that, I guess my opinion would be I would sooner have us explore the April 17th date as a change than the March date. And so providing that approval tonight supersedes it with a March 13th approval without a April 17th approval, if I've got the numbers correct in my head. And so that's why I would prefer to wait until it's all one piece, but
The way this winter's going, she might need both of them.
she might.
This doesn't preclude talking about.
No, it definitely doesn't preclude it.
And I think we also should kind of, we're in the habit of saying snow days, but we have bomb hoaxes, we have security threats. So those can come at us too, that we're not waiting for the weather, waiting for the crazies.
So does anybody else have something they want to add, or we can
I-
take a vote on?
Your comment just now in support of the tabling, suggestion granting the authority, not as a requirement, but as an option, does not, in my mind, get in the way of the 17th upon further conversation. So I guess I don't understand. I'm going to vote to not table this, to move it forward and provide that option, at the same time understanding the value of an extended conversation about potentially using the 17th instead.
Right. Seeing no other thoughts, I guess I will take the vote. All those in favor of tabling it? All those opposed? That was rough, but thank you for entertaining me. The only one. Mhm. Yes, yeah, we have 13. We just opposed tabling it, so now we're back to entertaining 13.6.
I would
So-
move the question.
All right, so with that, the question was back on the table and it's been moved, so I think that calls it to a vote, correct, Hudson?
Yeah.
So all those in favor of approving the option or approving
Yeah.
Yeah.
authorizing the superintendent, the authority to change the March 13th comp day to a student day pending this next snow day.
I thought we had dropped that pending the snow day. Do we need a motion for the?
I don't think we ever officially dropped it. I think
We did not,
we
that
had
is
still stuck with how it was written.
So can I
Can
move
I
to
amend? Can we still amend it?
Yeah, we can amend it now since it's back on the table. Hudson, throw something at me if I'm wrong, but if it's back,
So we voted, there was a call of the question, which we can vote on. We can deny the calling of the question, amend the motion, and then vote on the amended motion.
I withdraw my call.
Okay,
okay.
so now,
Now we
somewhat of
can
an
amend it.
amendment.
Oh, let me try. I would amend the motion to allow the superintendent the option of changing March 13th to a school day for everyone.
Second.
Okay, so that's been moved and seconded to allow the superintendent to change March 13th to a school day for the district or for everyone. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? And that passes. They're 12-1. I'm sticking to my guns.
Was that to, did we just agree to Amy's amendment and now we?
Correct, now the amendment's been agreed to, and now we get to vote on the motion. You got it.
So move the question. So now I move.
Now the question.
So now we'll move the question.
We're voting on the amended motion.
And the amended motion to allow the superintendent to change March 13th comp day to a school day for all students.
Second.
No, you don't need to. It's- you just-
Oh,
just
my
do it.
bad.
All right,
on the
seeing
table.
no additional discussion, all those in favor? I almost voted for it. All those opposed? It's still 12-1.
At least you're
Yeah, we'll
consistent,
figure it out.
Chairman.
I'll stick to my guns too.
And so now 13.5 returns from the table for that.
It sure does.
No.
So we are back to 13.5.
And so if you don't mind, Ryan, the
Please,
motion
Bill.
on the table is to approve the board to allow remote school days for any snow day that may come for the remainder of the school year 2025, 2026.
Is that second?
No, it's already on the
There's
table.
moved and seconded, so
Okay,
any
so-
comments?
So
Yeah.
I am interested in a test vote because we've had some, I haven't heard from everybody about this. And so I would move the question.
All right.
All right, so it's been moved. All those in favor? Opposed? So, yes, so, yeah, let me make sure that's right. To allow, or to approve, the board to approve to allow remote school days for any snow days, events that require a day off that may come for the remainder of the school year. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Authorizing remote days for
As-
any future. That's the vote.
Yes.
And so we just voted against that.
We just voted,
So the vote was to authorize remote days, and we did in fact just vote, and it was defeated.
it was, yes.
So you could ask for the vote. Yeah, that's, so you can. And spill it.
I think we can revote.
It's fine.
So here is what we're going to do. We're going to clarify what we're voting on and then we're going to vote. So everybody listen up. And this would be the board to allow remote school days for any snow days, events that require a day off that may come for the remainder of the school year. So if you were voting for this, you were voting to authorize remote school days. Yes.
Is authorizing meaning we are 100% doing the snow days every time, or is it going to be like a case-by-case basis, just to be clear?
I would say the language of the motion is to allow, not to require.
But I think we would have no more say in it.
So everybody feeling like they understand where we are?
Has been called. Does that mean we cannot have further
Correct.
discussion? That seems regretful. I know we don't need to have a long conversation, but.
It's been, we got to stick by Robert.
Yeah, the question has been called. So
You call,
we still have to, if there's an objection, you got to go through the full, call the question and vote for it, the 2/3 majority, so.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So we call it, Gregory might be able to correct me, but if the question is called, the way we typically have operated is if there's no objection to the calling of the question, we just proceed. But if there's the potential for conversation, it needs to be second and it needs to be voted by, I think, a 2/3 majority.
Is it too late to object to Gregory?
Well, I mean,
Yes, in theory, it was never seconded.
so no, I think it's not too late. So is there a second is the question?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, is there a second? To call it, no, to the calling of it. So that has not been seconded, so that means it's still on the table or on the floor for comment. Kim?
I just wanted to offer the perspective. I'm completely open to the idea of remote days. I know obviously the team is thinking very carefully and thoughtfully about the details. And so I don't know if we need to decide this question today with the option of March 13th now available. I realize it's essentially only available to you for 5 school days, so it's not a solution to the overall problem. And I think the conversation that was just had kind of offline there about requiring versus allowing is important because if we're not pushing as deep or as close to July 1st, my own opinion, and I sensed maybe some others in the room, is remote days may not be necessary initially, but they could become necessary the deeper we get into June.
Any other? All right, yeah, Haley?
I'm just going to say, while I'm not 100% confident and on board with the idea, I think that there have been times in the past where a lot of us say that we should trust the professionals. And I think that if all of the principals are wanting this, then I will support it.
Thank you. I guess I might have a quick question following that. Do all the principals support this?
I didn't take a vote, but we were all part of the discussion, correct? Yes.
Yeah, Gregory.
And just final point is that we can't predict the future. I think right now is the time to get ready for, especially the way the motion is conditional. Like I said, it may not be snow that shuts schools down. It could be a host of other factors. So this is the moment to just be prepared for it.
But then it's events that require a day off afterwards. I think it gives flexibility, I would say.
All right, so with that, are we ready? We'll take a vote. So all those in favor of this, and I can reread it if people would like, but it's for allow remote school days for any snow days, events that require a day off that may come for the remainder of the school year. So all those in favor? So, all right, all those opposed? 5. That is correct. So that was 8-5, so that passes.
Did you get everyone else? Did you get who we were?
Much as I would have liked to have gotten home earlier, it was kind of nice to have like a little disagreement here this evening. It's a refreshing change. Or I don't know if I mean refreshing change, but that was good, great discussion, and I appreciate everybody for humoring me and putting up with me with my opinions. So, all right, with that, we are on 13.7, I believe. Yes. All right, 13.7, to consider approval of Mount Ararat High School course approval request, contemporary crafts.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I don't know if there are any questions, or if Jim, you'd like to add anything additional to what you had earlier? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. Thank you. To consider, next up, 13.8, to consider approval for material request for MTA Spanish 4. All right, Vida y Muerta en la Mara Salvatrucha. And I appreciate
So
you.
move.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Yes.
Just wanted to point out that this book is fiction. It's based on true stories, but it's not a real story. So.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. 13.9, to consider approval of Mount Ararat High School course approval request, AP pre-calculus. So again, it's pre-calculus. The form here says calculus, but in the agenda from the meeting, it was pre-calculus.
So moved.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None, so that was unanimous. To consider, next up's 13.10, to consider approval of the use of the IXL program at Harpswell Community School.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments? Yes, Jessica.
Question, because I know other schools in the district use IXL. Why is it that we have to approve each school to use it if it's a district-wide program?
That conversation actually came up, and Amanda, you shared the idea, and perhaps another piece will come forward to do it globally. We'll get better at the approval process.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Jessica,
asking.
I think it has to do with the, you know, the slots available for
The license
the
issues per
licensing
school.
issues.
In each case, though, coming from schools' budgets in both cases to date.
Great question. Thank you for the insight. Any more questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 13.11, to consider Mount Ararat High School course request of AP French Language and Culture.
So move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? That was unanimous. Thank you all. To consider action to authorize the superintendent to proceed with additional approvals to secure funding through the State of Maine Zero Interest Rate Loan Forgiveness School Revolving Renovation Fund.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Evan, are you able to help
Provide a
provide?
little context. So the school revolving renovation fund is a process that school districts can apply for to have projects within their district funded, essentially. The state will provide funding for 55% of the cost, and the district has to make up the difference. So for us, it would be $102,000 project that the state would cover 55% of, and we'd be on the hook for $46,000 to greenlight a project at Bowdoin Community School to make one of the bathrooms there ADA accessible. The stipulation behind this is that the funding that the district would pay would be in the form of a bond. So it'd be $46,000 split up over 5 years at 0% financing. If we were to move forward with this, we do have to talk to the state and the loan financer within the next probably 15 days. But after that, we would also have to present the taxpayers at referendum the opportunity to vote on this, and they would ultimately be the ones to decide if we go forward with adding this debt onto our balance sheet. Once again, it is 0% interest, but it is a debt commitment for the next 5 years at about $9,000 per year. It's an easy way for one of the projects that Sean has on his capital improvement plan to get 55% funded.
Just for clarity, and maybe I misheard, but I heard you say Bowdoin Community School. Is it Bowdoin Central School?
Sorry.
Or, okay, Bowdoin Central?
Okay, yeah. Bowdoin Central.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Good catch, Jim. Any other? Yeah, Hudson.
Sean previewed this at the finance committee meeting we had this week, so this was not news to some of us. So yeah, and the finance committee thought it sounded like smart money, a loan with 0%.
And the reason we're bringing it forward way before the referendum that would come forward is because in the letter, we needed to respond within 30 days. Is that correct,
That's
Evan?
correct. Yeah, we have about 15 business days to get there, but just wanted to get it before you all before. We wouldn't actually have time to talk about this before the March 26th board meeting, so it was important for us to bring it forward today.
All right. Oh, yeah, Andy, thank you.
No, it's been a project that's identified anyway. So I feel like we're going to be doing it and this is at a discount. So I'm all in favor. Even though it adds debt, it's still going to be cheaper in the long run.
Any other comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that was unanimous. All right, agenda item 14 is the calendar and announcements, and so you'll see that the calendar attached. 15 is executive session, which we have done this evening, and 16 is adjournment. So that is it, and we are complete. Thank you. Have a good night.